So welcome back to the Beast Game Podcast, and this is going to be a review for Slender Man, and it's directed by Sylvan White, who has brought you classics as Stomp the Yard and Loses. The writers are David Burke and Victor Surge. Stars Joey King, Julia Goldani, Tellis, and Jazz Sinclair, and the synopsis is: in a small town in Massachusetts, a group of friends, fascinated by the internet lore of the Slender Man, attempt to prove that he doesn't actually exist until one of them mysteriously goes missing. This review is being brought to you by the master of horror, suspense, and thriller, Jay. And
yeah.
Jay, well, first of all, let's just talk about Slender Man in general. Just the internet meme, whatever it turned into. Just go ahead and describe that for people that don't know Slender Man.
Okay, for those that do not know anything about the Slender Man mythos, it was created probably like 2009? Maybe?
That sounds about right.
Yeah, around 9, 10, something like that. For those that don't know what a creepypasta is, it's basically a story that it becomes popular on the internet, a horror story, or characters created on the internet. Myself, I was very intrigued by the whole mythos behind Slender Man, and it's a great creative horror icon or character. I think it's very well done, very well thought out. I just like Slender Man. I like the whole concept of Slender Man. As a matter of fact, I actually was writing a script on Slender Man myself because I was just so enamored with it. I also did like a lot of research. So I was invested in watching this movie because I like Slender Man. I like the whole idea of Slender Man.
Yeah, and apparently some people liked it too much.
And I'm going to mention that a little bit later. So let's get into Slender Man's abilities. Basically, his thing is he takes children. But the thing is, you have to summon him. And once you summon him and once you see him, one of three things. You end up going crazy, you kill yourself, or you get taken by Slender Man. This is one of those three things. He affects electronic devices, as in cell phones, cameras, anything that has to do with electricity, he affects. And in the process of doing that, he also could affect your mind, electromagnetic triggers in your brain and all that stuff. That's how he makes you go insane. So, like I said, it's a well thought out character. I like the whole idea behind Slender Man. I think it's a good thing. Let's go ahead and get to the movie. So you heard me talk about how much I like the whole Slender Man's backstory and everything. I'm very disappointed in this film. Very disappointed in this film. Only thing I can say that's positive about this movie is the way it was shot. It had very good imagery. Tone wasn't really there. At times, a sense of dread, but it was so predictable. Like I mentioned in previous podcasts, and I think I mentioned it in the podcast we were talking about just horror movies and why they fail to scare people. It's because everything is so predictable. They set up a camera angle that you know someone's going to appear from behind. They set up a camera angle that you know that someone's going to do this. It's just basically leading in the jump scare or leading in any type of scare or leading in something. There's nothing left to the imagination. And this is a prime example of this in this movie. The Slender Man, you don't really get to see him. The movie, I'm not even sure how long the movie was. I was in there just kind of like trying to figure out what the fuck was going on.
The movie's listed to be just a little over an hour and a half.
Okay, so you probably don't really get to see Slender Man probably until the last 15 minutes of the movie.
That doesn't sound sensible. And I will say that there is some controversy behind this movie because a lot of stuff was cut out.
Okay, and I was going to bring that up too because I happened to watch the trailer before I went to go see the movie because I was like, all right, I've been talking about going to see this movie. The trailer got me hyped and let me go watch it again. And there was a lot of scenes in that trailer that was cut out. Like, you don't even see it. I was thinking they probably did an Avengers, set up scenes just to throw people off, but it's not that type of movie. It's not worthy of doing something like Avengers, do a misdirection. No. Avengers had a reputation. So this one has no reputation. It just has a reputation of the Slender Man backstory and the popularity of Slender Man. That is it. You can't do that. The thing that upsets me about this movie is that this character is so good and so great and so, I'm not going to say loved, but just so, people are so enamored with it. Sony could have had a horror monster franchise right now. Probably did good enough to generate a sequel. I'm not quite sure. But overall, the movie was not good. It wasn't a disaster. It wasn't like fucking Mother. Like, Mother is the pinnacle of shit.
Well, James, about the box office. So this movie's been out for 2 weeks at this point?
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Yeah, so the budget for the movie was $10 million.
Mm-hmm. It made that back. It had to.
It has gross 15 million.
Barely.
Yes.
So that means that it made its money back, but at least needs to make another 20 more to be considered for a sequel, in my opinion. I mean, it made profit, but still, you want to make the profit of the whole entire cost of the movie. So basically, if it makes 20 million, then you got 10 million going forward. Be safe, I would say it has to at least make 45 million. That's my opinion. But anyway, getting back to the movie. So the thing that pisses me off about this movie is four friends, and they're like trying to figure out what to do for the weekend, like with the girls and all this stuff. And they meet up with some boys. The boys said, "Hey, we're having a guys' night. We're doing this and doing that." And they said, "So what are you guys doing?" Like, "Oh, it's top secret. We're not going to tell you." Blah 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 blah. So let's fast forward to the girls doing that little girl thing, a little sleepover. One of the girls finds out what the boys are doing, and they're going to do a summoning of Slender Man. You know, it's like kind of like they made like a Bloody Mary type shit. Once they did that, and they so-called summon Slender Man, this is where this movie becomes a giant ripoff of so many other movies. This movie is kind of a ripoff of The Ring, which I am very pissed off about because they had a video they had to watch to summon Slender Man. And the video was very reminiscent of the Rings video, the cursed video.
So, in the internet meme of Slender Man, how do you summon Slender Man?
From what I remember, I don't think it's necessarily about summoning. I think he just comes to you. I haven't did research on Slender Man in a minute. The way that they were doing it, I know it wasn't that. I know for a fact it was definitely not that. A video. I know that for a fact. But that is not the way you do it, and I think they just did that because it's probably, technology is a popular theme in movies now, especially horror movies. So why not go with that? It's the simplest thing, and that's what makes it relatable to people because it has to do with technology. So I think that's why they went that route. So after that, weird shit started to happen, and then one of the girls, she kind of had a rough life, and she could always talk about running away and all this other stuff. So after they did that summoning, she got more invested into Slender Man, and she was the first person to disappear. And then after that, it becomes a mystery, like, where did she go? What happened? Is this real? Is this all that? After a while, all the girls start coming around, except for one. This didn't start coming around to like at least 20 minutes to the end of the movie. 20 minutes from the end, that's when she started coming around. Oh my God, this is real. But all this crazy shit happening, she's seeing shit, her friends seeing shit. She still does not get that this shit is real. She's just in denial throughout the whole movie. So that irritated me as well. The imagery was pretty decent. The way it was shot was pretty decent. The person that played Slender Man, he's also the person that was in Mama, that played Mama. He's very Doug Jones-esque, meaning...
Yeah, and also, Slender Man doesn't necessarily have a face. So he's just this shapeless...
Just tall, lanky. Yeah. Tall and lanky.
In the form of a person without a face and just kind of opaque.
Right. And with a suit on. He's a dapper monster. Then it starts becoming real for her. Probably 20 minutes left in the movie. So... all the girls, like, this is going to, I don't care about spoilers because I'm trying to forewarn you from watching this movie. All the girls die. Dumbest character in this movie was Chloe. Did something that it was explicit. After all this shit that they went through, with the whole Slender Man stuff, seeing things, her friend disappearing, and all this other stuff, they got an anonymous tip. Not necessarily an anonymous tip, but on the Slender Man website, the girl that disappeared, she was speaking to someone that has experience with this. And I guess somehow, some way she survived, and they were getting information from her. They said the only way to get your friend back is for you to do a trade with Slender Man, like to give her something you love. So they came out in the woods, and they all contributed something that they love to try to get their friend back. The thing is like you hear 3 bells. On the 3rd bell and all this other stuff, you're supposed to keep your eyes closed. They were supposed to be blindfolded. 3rd bell, no matter what you hear, do not take the blindfold off. This dumbass girl decided to take the blindfold off. At that point, that's when she started to descend into madness. She ran through the woods, ran to Slender Man. She seemed fine. Next thing you know, you don't see her anymore throughout the movie. You see her once. They go to her house because she doesn't go back to school. They go to her house to see what's going on with her. And she's looking out the window looking all spooked and shit. So she ended up going crazy. Remember I said in the beginning, if you see him, if you take a look at him and you see his face, there's only 3 things that can happen to you. You end up going insane. You kill yourself. Or he takes you. She got the least painful experience. She just went crazy. I mean, I don't know if it's least painful, but I guess dying and killing yourself or being taken, yeah. But anyway, That's about it. And then the other friends, she got yoked up, she got taken. And then the last one that survived, or the last one that was going to survive, she ended up sacrificing herself because her younger sister, got involved in this somehow. Oh, her younger sister got involved because of one of her friends took her out in the woods and they did the seance or the summoning again. And this was before she knew that it was real. So yeah, it wasn't a good movie. And what also disappoints me, if you notice, I've been saying a lot of things that disappoint me. The thing that disappoints me the most about this film, this is a big budget film. This is a studio film. I was more entertained by the YouTube series that started this whole thing. Well, I ain't gonna say started the whole thing, but added to the mythos of Slender Man than this. The channel's called Marble Hornets. And I was more intrigued by that. That actually had me like, ooh, that made me want to do a little bit more research on Slender Man. That actually got me more invested into the character. Now I'm just like, wow, I'm just in awe of how much the studio dropped the ball on this. This character is so complex, it's just a really good character you could build.
It's a good idea that just has poor execution. Is that what you're trying to say?
Very poor execution.
My question is, Slender Man or the Bye-Bye Man?
Slender Man? What? What? Why'd you even put them in the same category, man?
Well, just because the Bye-Bye Man, which I did not see, you saw it.
Yeah.
Seems to be somewhat along the lines of this movie. Yeah, obviously it's kind of a teen movie. Bye-Bye Man came out last year. Don't think it, don't say it, don't do something. I don't know.
But the thing is with Bye-Bye Man, that was actually a pretty good concept too. It's just the execution was bad, but it was a pretty good concept. But not Slender Man. Slender Man, like, it's been around for a minute. And I wouldn't be surprised if Bye-Bye Man was a kind of a ripoff of Slender Man. I mean, Slender Man is so popular, it's so in the pop culture right now. I mean, well, not as much as it used to be right now, but when it first came out, man, they made video games on this shit. It was all over the place. And then just to do it like this is just...
So we had spoken earlier about that Sony had went through a couple of editing sessions of this movie where they removed a lot of content just because they were afraid of offending people, mainly because of that attempted murder involving two young girls. They just got so involved and so into the lore of Slender Man, they attempted to do that for real. That's it.
I would have been fine with that. That would have made sense. That would have went along with the real life story. And I understand they didn't want to do that because it would have offended people, but it happened in real life. It's not like it didn't happen. It happened. And that's the thing. I think they kind of went there a little bit because the only way to give up, only way to, like, I ain't gonna say give up, but only way to get their friend back was to give up something they love. In other words, they had to kill somebody, they had to sacrifice somebody. And from what I remember from the story with the two girls, they tried to sacrifice another girl by stabbing her so many times to Slender Man. In retrospect, maybe they should have kept that in. It would have made more sense. Because then if the girls try to kill another girl to basically stop Slender Man from haunting them, then yeah, because now it makes me think, well, maybe that's what the girls were doing in the woods, like that, like the real actual crime is that they were just, hey, I'm gonna sacrifice you to Slender Man because this motherfucker is chasing me if he was real. But you know what I mean? It would have worked out in the film's favor, in my opinion. Just goes back to how society is now. Everyone's a little bit too soft. And they would have stuck with that. It would have been a better film.
All right, James. So what score would you give Slender Man?
I would give this movie a 3. The imagery was good. The person that plays the Slender Man, even though you saw him, I mean, you saw like glimpses of him and all that stuff. It was a very dark movie, but they did that to play off. He's in the shadows, peers from the shadows. So I get that. Certain shots were done pretty well, but also certain shots were, in my opinion, where they were fucking just ripped off from the ring. Exactly from the fucking ring. I went to the movies with my wife to see this. She was like, makes you think they ripped it off and not it was inspiration or something. I said, it's just between inspiration and rip off. This shit was fucking identical. It was just bad. The characters were not likable at all, especially the one that's just in denial throughout the whole damn movie until the last 20 minutes when shit got real. I mean, shit was real before that. Like, really, all this shit's going on and you don't see shit. Just in denial. He's going to let it be like whatever. So I give this movie a 3. I would not recommend anyone to see this. If you want to see a good Slender Man, go to YouTube and watch Marble Hornets. That's what you watch.
And that's
Now
the
watch
Beast Game
this.
Podcast.
Yeah, man. It was rough, dude.